these. These are my ideas quickly. In leading a group in prayer, with boys especially, I set a timer. I'll pull up my phone and say, for 2 minutes we're going to pray, maybe silently, or maybe we're going to pray for 30 seconds, so bow your heads and start. Or whatever we're praying, I usually use a timer so that they know how long we're going to spend on it. If we're meditating on an idea, or if they're supposed to pair up and pray for each other, I usually give them a time limit so they know. So I use a timer all the time with a lot of these other ideas. Okay, so other ideas, basically, you get a volunteer to pray. Say, we've been teaching, we've been talking about this, and then who is going to pray and thank God? All right, John, you're going to pray? All right, so when I finish, then you start. So you lead, you model, you say, Lord, thank you for these, and then you say, all right, John, your turn. And you really just hand that prayer time over to the volunteer. You could get several volunteers, but I think modeling before that is really helpful. Popcorn prayer with parameters. This is a little bit more advanced. This is where kids feel comfortable just kind of stepping into that empty space and praying. But give them some parameters. I'm going to start, and after you guys have had a chance to pray, my co-leader is going to finish. They're going to pray the last prayer, so you kind of know what the parameters are. Or maybe 3 people will pray, or we'll set a timer for 5 minutes, that kind of thing. Sometimes popcorn prayer is too scary, right? What if you start praying while somebody else starts and you interrupt? So you could get people in a circle, girls especially don't mind doing this, they all hold their hand and everyone has a chance to pray. If you don't want to pray, when it comes to be your turn in the circle, just squeeze the hand of the person next to you and you just kind of pass it on. So maybe only 2 people pray, but everyone had a chance and there was no interrupting, right? So when you're done, you just squeeze the hand of the person beside you. Sometimes people share prayer requests. They love to discuss, pray for my dad, pray for my uncle, pray for my dog, all right? And then you can pair people up. Say, all right, you two, scoot back, scoot back, scoot back. Remind each other what you asked prayer for, and I'll set a timer for 2 minutes and where you pray for each other. And so that can be really powerful. Silent meditation and discussion. Maybe we're teaching about how to adore the Lord, and maybe we're teaching about confession, and so maybe we want to sit and think about the things that you have done that you would confess to the Lord, right? So we would meditate, set a timer, meditate for 2 or 3 minutes, and then have a discussion. Did God speak to you? Did he remind you of things? Did he remind you of the scripture we learned about forgiveness or about being made clean? So meditation and then the discussion that follows. What did God say? Where you as the teacher get to kind of filter what they're saying, or you get to have an impact on it. All right, discuss, and then the leader model. This is probably my default. This is what I go to most of the time, where we talk about prayer. I might even get prayer requests from them, and then I say, all right, bow your heads, and I will pray what you just said. And so I basically take their words and I turn them into a prayer. And then we stop and say, hey, did you hear how I thanked the Lord? Or this is something that this can happen really naturally. There's a good chance you're probably doing this also. And then I guess the concluding point that I would say is treat yourself as the leader like the MC. Like you are coaching them through prayer, which means don't expect them to remember 4 different prayers. Say, we're going to pray for this, bow your heads, pray, and then open your eyes, talk about it, and then talk about the next point. Really coach them through each little step. Don't expect them to sustain a long period of prayer or remember a lot of points. Coach them through each step until they become comfortable really sort of sitting in that space and connecting with God. And they will. They'll learn and they'll mature, but be the coach that sort of leads them through that.